Well, that race did not play out like expected to be, and to be honest with you, I am not very happy right now, to be perfectly honest with you. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. I just got done watching the Bushy McBush race, the Busch Wins His First 400 at Kansas International Speedway for the Cup Series, the 11th race on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. And I have to say, like I mentioned in the beginning, I am not a very happy camper with the way this race played out, to be perfectly honest with you. So let's go ahead and just jump straight into the race review. So, a couple cars had to go to the rear. Anthony Alfredo had to go rear for an adjustment, and Ross Chastain and Eric Jones both had to go to the rear as well for failing twice in inspection. I believe both of them also lose their pit selection for the upcoming race since they basically lost. So they're basically in trouble. They'll be not getting good pit stalls at the beginning of the race. So let's go ahead and start off with the green flag in this race. So starting on the pole for this weekend, you have Brad Keselowski, who was the leader in this race, and he actually would dominate really the early portions of this race, really up to the competition caution. I feel like William Byron had a better car, to be honest with you, than Brad Keselowski, but with cleaner being such a big factor, and with this being a race kind of similar to last fall, it was really, really difficult to pass. But Brad Keselowski would come up to the competition caution with the race lead. We go back green on lap 831 in this race, and basically the same thing was happening. Now, while this was going on, you had drivers like Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson who were driving their way up to the front. The Highline was really, really coming in and was really showing because those two had really, really strong cars and were really, really fast in the race, and they were starting to come up to the front. And I thought, to be perfectly honest with you, that they were overall going to have a chance to get the race lead, and it looked like they were going to get the lead much sooner in the race. Guys like Reddick, Byron, Larson, and Kyle Busch really, in my opinion, have better cars, to be perfectly honest with you, than Brad Keselowski, but the cleaner being such a big factor, they really were not able to get up front. But once Kyle Larson got around William Byron and Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson basically just drove up there and was able to actually take the race lead from Brad Keselowski. But Kyle Busch's car actually started coming in as well at the end of the stage, and he actually would end up making the pass on Kyle Larson with around 3 or 4 laps to go in the stage, and he would come off the final corner and win stage 1 here at Kansas Speedway. We go back racing at lap 88 in this race, and basically this race would actually be handed to Kyle Larson for car, but Kyle Larson actually had a lot of good pit stops. Meanwhile, throughout the race as well, Kyle Busch's pit crew was absolutely struggling. They were having issues with Kyle Busch's pit crew. He was losing 2 spots and 3 spots on pit road, and that would end up being an issue in this race. Then like I said, we go back racing for quite a bit, and Kyle Larson actually would dominate the second half of this race, and then green flag pit stops were happening at the time, and then on the green flag pit stop for this one, Cody Rowe would actually trying to basically come into pit road, but NASCAR would not throw the caution for that, and we would stay green flag in this race. And then Kyle Larson was able to take the race lead, and he would dominate the rest of it, and he would end up winning stage 2 in this race. We go back racing with around 80 or 90 laps to go in this race to start the end of stage. Actually, 100 laps to go in the race, with Kyle Larson basically being the race leader. And there was some contact a few laps basically into the run. Denny Hamlin's all starting to make a charge up to the front as well. There would be some contact early in the run. Bubba will also get a little bit sideways, and Alex Bowman would collect him. Unfortunately, Alex Bowman would get a lot of damage, and he would come down pit road. We basically stayed green. This race had actually basically ended up playing out naturally. It looked like it was going to basically play out naturally for the end of this race. And then green flag pit stops happen, and we get to around 50 laps to go, and Tyler Reddick has an uncontrolled tire that goes out into the infield grass. Tyler Reddick, unfortunately, was having a very, very strong race, but during green flag pit stops, that uncontrolled tire would go out into the infield grass. Now, you would think NASCAR has 2 options right here. They let it play out naturally, they let it play out and basically have all the guys come down pit road, which would not be my decision, or throw the caution out immediately and let it play out like it's supposed to. NASCAR plays it out and decides to throw the caution with around 37 laps to go, and basically changes the outcome of this race. Now, before we jump into the rest of this race review, I have to say that I'm not very happy that NASCAR made this call. I think it's blatant manipulation and absolutely ridiculous that they threw the caution. Instead of throwing the caution right away, or having someone basically go get the tire, which would have made a lot more sense, NASCAR basically decided, you know what, we're just going to throw the caution and change it up, because we knew Kyle Larson basically had this race in control, and Denny Hamlin would probably have a chance, maybe catch him, because Denny Hamlin at points was faster in the run, but let's be honest, Kyle Larson had the best car all day. NASCAR decides, hey, let's go ahead and throw the caution to basically change up the outcome of the race, because why not? Man, I'm basically fired up about that, because they did this for Chase Elliott, one of my other favorite drivers as well, at the Daytona Road Course, throwing that caution for that blatant BS rain tire situation, and then throwing the caution out with 37 laps to go. Absolutely blatant, absolutely ridiculous, and fans get tired of this blatant manipulation. Fans are sick and tired of it, and in my personal opinion, This is what basically changed the outcome of the race. It made it really, really stupid, but also at points really, really exciting on those ensuing restarts as well. We go back racing a lap 36 race, and we actually go green for about 10 laps, and Denny Hamlin actually was able to get the jump on Kyle Larson, but Kyle Larson was able to get on the inside. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin actually got a little bit sideways into the outside wall, and because Denny Hamlin was basically trying to defend Kyle Larson, once the tires started coming in, Larson's car really, really, really gelled, to be perfectly honest with you. He was able to get lead. Hamlin got on the outside wall, and he would bring out the caution with around 23 to 22 laps to go in this race. Then, you had the pit road strategy started happening. 6 cars would stay out, including Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain. I think Joey Logano was on 2 tires on this. I think Austin Dillon stayed out, and I think someone else stayed out, if I'm not mistaken. Then you had the fresh tires basically starting to come in, and Kyle Larson is actually able to keep the race lead from guys like Kyle Busch in this race. But basically then again we have another caution with a couple car incident. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets sideways off some contact from Austin Cindric, it looked like, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. spin down into the infield, bringing out the caution once again. We go back racing with around 10 laps to go in this race, and then the final caution in this race for incident would come out with basically 9 or 8 laps to go. Christopher Bell would get a little bit sideways. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch actually got the race lead, but Christopher Bell would get a little bit sideways going into turn number 3, and unfortunately, he collected both of the JHE Doherty cars in this race, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. basically catch on fire. Ryan Preece also would have to go behind it well, but he stayed out a few laps to get a few extra points as well. Then we get into the final restart of this race, and it gets very, very chaotic. Kyle Busch chooses the inside lane on the ensuing restart. Ryan Blaney, who we got around Kyle Larson, chooses the outside line. Then on the ensuing restart, Kyle Larson is trying to push Ryan Blaney into the corner, and unfortunately, Kyle Larson basically pushes Ryan Blaney into the corner a little bit too hard. That, unfortunately, is on Kyle Larson, to be perfectly honest with you. He even took responsibility in the post-race show, to be honest with you. But he pushes Ryan Blaney into the outside wall, and Kyle Larson also ends up getting involved, and they have no shot to win this race. Then there's a lot of chaos happening. Kyle Busch is able to pull away at the race lead. Then you had guys like Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski were trying, Mark Truex Jr., even Chase Elliott, who were trying to charge up in the front, but they would really not have anything for Kyle Busch at the end of this race. And coming off the final corner in crazy and stupid fashion, Kyle Busch comes off the final corner and takes the win here and becomes the 10th different driver to win this year and wins his first race of 2021. Like I mentioned, I'm not very happy with the outcome of this race because of the blatant manipulation in this race, but to be perfectly honest with you, I'm happy that Kyle Busch won, especially what he's had to go through. He's had a lot to go through over the weekend with the infertility issues that he and his family basically been having, the pregnancy problems that he and Samantha basically been having over this time. It's really great to see Kyle Busch win. If I had anybody else I really want to win other than Kyle Larson, I would like to have seen Kyle Busch win. Again, he was not my pick coming into this weekend. Denny Hamlin was my pick. But I'm happy Kyle Busch won. He becomes, like I said, he becomes the 10th different driver to win this year, which is absolutely crazy. And it's definitely some crazy stuff for sure. So now, let's go ahead and go into the race results of this race. I'm about to turn over in a second. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the race results of tonight's race. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the race results of this race. So, the winner of tonight's race was Kyle Busch. Kevin Harvick finished the second. Best finish he's had of this year. Really great year so far for Kevin Harvick. Actually, not a great year so far, but Kevin Harvick finished second. Solid run for Kevin Harvick tonight. Brad Keselowski finished third, dominated the early portion of this race, ends up getting a top 5. Matt DiBenedetto gets a top 5 tonight. Great run for Matt DiBenedetto tonight. I think Matt DiBenedetto had probably around a 10th place car, but he gets a 4th place finish, so solid run for Matty D tonight. Chase Elliott finished 5th. He finishes in the top 5 tonight. Great to see that for sure. Mark Truex Jr. finished 6th. Truex I thought was going to be a little bit better, to be perfectly honest with you, but he gets a top 10 tonight. Good run for him, in my honest opinion. Tyler Reddick finishes 7th after the uncontrolled tire issue. Tyler Reddick finishes 7th. Chris Buescher finishes 8th. I really feel bad for Chris Buescher that really, at least he got back in the top 10 after that BS call where he basically got screwed by NASCAR, in my honest opinion. He gets 8th tonight, though. Again, he bounced back to a top 10 run. Can't really say anything negative about that, to be perfectly honest with you. William Byron finishes 9th. He was really strong earlier in the race. I really don't know what happened to William Byron, to be honest with you. He finishes 9th in tonight's race. And Austin Dillon finishes 10th in today's race. Another top 10 for him. Daniel Suarez gets an 11th place run. Solid run for Daniel Suarez today. 12th place goes to Denny Hamlin after the issues he had. He finishes 12th. Probably should have at least had a shot for a top 5 or contended for the win, but he bounces back to 12th in the race. Michael McDowell with another top 15 run. Michael McDowell has been super consistent so far this year. He's 13th in the race. Good run for Michael McDowell tonight. Ross Chastain finished 14th. He was in the top 5 quite a bit of this race as well. He gets in 14th. Solid run for Ross Chastain. That experience in a truck race really helped him in this race. Kurt Busch finishes 15th, 16th for Ryan Newman, his 700 start, by the way. Joey Logano finishes 17th in tonight's race. Alex Bowman finishes 18th. Alex Bowman really was not fast at all, to be perfectly honest with you. He's the weakest Hendrick car, in my honest opinion. He finishes 18th in tonight's race. Kyle Larson finishes 19th. Best car of the day. Gets screwed because of a blatant call. He finishes 19th in today's race. And Chase Briscoe gets a top 20, finishes 20th in today's race. Ryan Blaney, after the issues he had at the end of the race, I feel bad for Blaney too because he ran top 5 a lot of the race. He finishes 21st. 22nd place for Austin Cindric. 23rd place for Anthony Alfredo. 24th for Cole Custer. 25th for Eric Jones, 26th for Bubba Wallace. Again, Bubba Wallace is running actually up front early in the race, but his car kind of fell back, got some damage early in the run, and I just can't say this enough. Bubba's been absolutely having some off and on runs, and I expected Bubba to kind of struggle in this race, and he finishes 26th in tonight's race. Corey Joy finishes 27th, 28th place for Christopher Bell, 29th place goes to Eric Almirola, 30th place for Justin Haley, 31st for BJ McLeod, 32nd for Ryan Preece, 33rd for Garrett Smithy, 34th for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes, again, not a great run for him tonight, unfortunately, after that incident, but again, he also falls outside the top 16 in the championship standing, which is really, really frustrating to see. Joey Gates finishes 35th in tonight's race, 36th for Cody Ware, 37th for Quinn Houff, 38th for Matt Mills, and finishing last in 39th place tonight was Josh Licky. Speaking of which, basically the field all completed basically only a few cars finished out of the race, but the field completed 250 out of the 267 laps, which is really, really impressive to see. Yeah, field I think completed like 90% of the race today, which is really, really impressive to see, by the way, and some great stuff for sure. So now let's take a look at the point standings as well. So Denny Hamlin has an 87-point lead over Martin Truex Jr. William Byron sits third in the points, 96 points back right now. Joey Logano sits fourth in the points, 108 back. Ryan Blaney sits fifth in the points, 111 back. Brad Keselowski sits sixth in the points, 115 back. Seventh place in the standings right now is Chase Elliott, who's 132 back. Kevin Harvick's eighth in the points, 133 back. Kyle Larson is ninth in points, 144 back. Kyle Busch is 10th, 151 back. Austin Dillon is 11th, 186 back. Christopher Bell is 12th, 189 back. 13th is Michael McDowell, who's 213 back. Alex Bowman is 14th, 221 back. Chris Buescher is 15th, 231 back. 23 back, excuse me. And then Matt Benedetto is 16th in points right now, 231 back. So currently right now outside the cut line, you have Kurt Busch, who's 12 points outside. Matt Benedetto actually moves into the playoffs, which is really nice to see, by the way. Tyler Reddick is 18 points now. He's 18 points back. Tyler Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 18 points back. And Ryan Newman is 20th in the points right now. He is currently 31 points back outside of the cutoff line right now. So let's go ahead and give you my score of tonight's race, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think that this was a really fantastic race, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought that the end of stage 1 was really, really good, but that blatant manipulation call really kind of hurt the score for me of tonight's race, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought the second, as we got a little bit later in the race, it did get better, to be honest with you, but I think that the early portion of the race really wasn't that fantastic, to be honest with you, and then the end of the race, a blatant manipulation call, and a race not playing out naturally really hindered the outcome of the race. Yes, it definitely made it more exciting. I'm not going to disagree with that. But the blame manipulation call really left a sour taste in my mouth for tonight's race. So for that, I'm going to give tonight's race a 6 out of 10. I'm not very happy with the outcome of this race. I would actually say this is probably my second least favorite race of the year so far. Probably behind Atlanta right now. I know that Atlanta was not as exciting points as Kansas. But after all the blame manipulation of this race that ended up happening here at Kansas, I really have left a sour taste in my mouth, and I really am not tired of these blatant manipulation races happening. And that's just my honest opinion on tonight's race at Kansas International Speedway. So, anyway, that is going to be it for tonight's race review from Kansas International Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Link description below for that, and comment your thoughts on tonight's race here at Kansas Speedway. What are your thoughts about tonight's race at Kansas Speedway? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know your score in the comments below as well. And congratulate Kyle Busch on winning tonight's race here at Kansas Speedway. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching tonight's video. And I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content. Take care, everybody.